welcome back to the Dr. Melissa Show. So today we are going to talk, kind of continuing our conversation last time about happiness. We want to talk about happiness in the workplace. This is kind of focusing more on your work environment and how you apply some of the ideas and new ideas that we're going to introduce this time into your workplace. And hopefully these are ideas that can inspire you and motivate you to do something different or view things differently to find more happiness in your personal work. So I want to kind of start off talking about Tony Hsieh. He is the CEO. Well, he was the CEO of Zappos. Zappos is a shoe company. He kind of brought it from $0 profit to $1 billion in the course of 10 years. And in that experience, he's able to share a lot about how he's able to bring life to this company. And one of the main things about his philosophy and his way of delivering happiness to his customers is that, this is a quote from him, "Our philosophy is delivering happiness to customers and employees. People may not remember exactly what you did or what you said, but they will always remember how you made them feel." So this is really important because making someone feel good is almost like an art. And it's something that is hard to train people to do unless they naturally have this tendency to extend that care and that kindness to those around them, especially their customers or to each other in the workplace. And so that's something that I want to focus on because Tony Hsieh says, to establish this quality of care for your customers, you have to establish tremendous culture in your company. He says, your culture is your brand. So at Honey Dental, this is my dental practice where we try to apply some of these ideals. So it's very important to me that the team gets along very well outside and inside the workplace. So we spend a lot of time and effort to bond outside the workplace, and we kind of have a lot of experiences from that. And I just want everyone to kind of share, how does that make you feel to be able to bond with your coworkers outside the workplace, and how you think that benefits our culture?
Well, I mean, I myself feel like when we're doing all this bonding and activities and everything, like, you guys are like my family now. Just because, oh yeah.
Don't start crying.
Oh, I'm tearing up a little bit. It's okay, guys. I mean, I spend so much time with you guys outside of work as well as like in work. And I mean, you guys are like all my friends, family, and everything. So I definitely feel like having that connection with everybody, it definitely helps at work because like we all just are there to like back each other up and everything. And like having that trust in everyone is like, I mean, it makes everything work so much easier at the office.
And you're right, you need it. Because if you think about it, at home you have your time with that kind of family, but then the entire day you're spending with this entire other group of people, and they do become your family. You need to be able to trust them. You need to be able to understand them and get along because you're going to be with them every hour.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think every time we bond outside, I mean, I've been with you all for about, at least with the doctor, at least a couple of years, and it's been nice. It's been very nice.
For me personally, like the family aspect of it, I feel kind of related to because like whenever we went to California, I was still kind of like a newbie at that point. And that was also my first trip that Doc had taken me on. So being there with everyone and kind of seeing a different side of everyone made me feel more a part of like the family environment. So then whenever I got back, I just felt more like comfortable at work, and like I could ask more questions. And I also felt a need to like do better and be better because of like everyone else. So yeah.
So you feel closer and bonded, and you feel more trust because you're able to kind of break down some of the barriers.
Yeah, it makes me want to work. It makes me want to do better work also.
And be a better team player.
Yeah, right. It's like you don't build up that, you don't have that wall anymore of like, I have to be perfect, I have to make sure I do my job right. And when you bond, you know, outside of this, you get to really know each other, and you're like, oh, I can breathe.
It just helps us to set our foundation. Like, first moving care, I had no one. And now I know, like, if I do need anything, I can call on any of you guys.
We got your back.
Are my family. I definitely love the bonding that we do.
It's fun. It's different.
You never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah, it's always a surprise. It's a trip. It's go out and eat. It's just play a board game.
You get
Nickel
to
Mania.
experience different things. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always a variety of things, and it just really opens you up to each other a lot more. I think also it's one of those, like you were saying, you become comfortable. So you feel like you can ask questions. You can ask for help, which is a really big thing. Where sometimes you think like maybe I'm, I don't know if I should ask. Maybe I'm kind of nervous. I don't know how they're gonna,
It helps us to be a better team. We lift each other up. So.
And I think even like taking it out, like doing our bonding activities and everything and taking it out of the workplace for a bit, you get to see like the more playful side of everybody. You get to see their weirdness, their quirks and everything. And it makes it a lot less like, yes, we're still serious at work and everything, but
not
like
stuffy.
Yeah, we're not stuffy. We're able to kind of like work with each other and like.
Yeah, like I said, we build respect. I think there's a lot of respect around everybody here. We all really know that. We all work real well with each other and we respect. And even Dr. Santilli, she's a ball of fun.
Do you have anything to add? I know you hang out with us a lot.
Yeah, I'm more like the guy looking at from the outside, and I've told Helen a lot. I remember when she first started working with you. It was really interesting because she was really happy working with you, and I could tell. And even though I knew she was working so many hours, I was like, wow, you're doing so much. Before you had everybody there.
Yeah, it was just me and her.
And I was like,
yeah, it was.
And I was like, that's enough to drive somebody crazy to where like, I really hate my job and I'm doing so much and there's nobody here to really help and pick up the slack and stuff. But she would tell me, she was like, I really like Doc. I really feel like we have a good relationship with each other and stuff. And I was like, I'm really happy for you. That's really good. I said, it's important that you enjoy your workplace, that you make those good bonds with people like that, because, then it doesn't seem like such a chore to go in, and you can, you work better with each other. I said, and it really shows too. I said, especially when customers come in and they see that kind of bond going on between other people, it makes them feel a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah.
When they can really feel that vibe going on between other people. It's not so sterile.
Yeah.
So
See, we're not stuffy.
Yeah, and I think that's what I've always liked about the environment because she would tell me a lot about the environment you were trying to create, with your hires and stuff. You were looking for people. You were very meticulous about, what kind of people you were bringing in, hoping that they would buy into your family atmosphere that you were trying to create. And I said, that's really good. I said, that's really good that she wants to do that with her practice. I said, I wish you would see a lot more of that out there in some of these places, because I think that's what's missing a lot of times.
I appreciate that. I think Helen and I gotten to the point where we can like just look at each other with our mask on and we know what's going on, and sometimes it just makes us giggle because something was like we're like,
I know.
like, this just happened, but we don't have to say anything.
Don't say anything.
Yeah. And I usually tell, it's kind of a joke, I just kind of tell people like I mostly just hire based on personalities. Like I feel a direct connection with every one of you, and it's not because of your skills. And I keep joking about
Thank you.
Like I would hire people like, I'm like, you have no skills, but it's cool because I think we connect, and I can teach you the skills. I can't teach you your personality. And so that's what I tell people, that I kind of look for a positive, happy personality, because I can't teach that, but I can teach anything else that you would want to learn. And so that's what I really like about it. And also, I think being fun, having a fun atmosphere, it's just less stuffy, like what you were saying. And it kind of allows us to be imperfect around each other, because that no one's perfect. And I'm not trying to say I'm perfect, but I also recognize that everybody has their strengths and weaknesses. And what my goal is to bring out the strength and let other people fill in the weaknesses. So I try to minimize making you do something that's out of your comfort zone or your abilities, and then just let someone else do that. And the same thing with me, because all of you fulfill me in different ways, that you do things that I can't accomplish on my own. So I know that y'all sort of like complete me.
We
in a way.
balance.
It's like extensions of myself. It's like tentacles.
You complete me.
Yeah. So do you guys want to kind of talk about how any specific experiences you want to share about, us in Disneyland or Universal Studios, what happened there?
Well,
Universal was super fun.
Well, yeah, we went around Halloween.
Yeah, it was
Time.
it was like, what was it called, like Fright Night or something? So they had all of these like really weird haunted houses set up and everything.
In
Which,
California.
FYI, nobody knows, the doctor does not do well in scary situations.
I did know that. But I knew you guys liked it, so I was like, yeah, I'll go along with that. But yeah, it was terrifying and it was horrible. But
we pretty much like buddied up and everything. I think one of us had the doctor on our arm every single time we went through a haunted house at least once. So there was a time she fell on the floor too. But you know,
Yeah, fight or flight response, you fall.
it's like, eat me. I'm here.
Just take
I'm
me.
not even gonna fight you guys.
I think it's really fun too because sometimes we'll rent out a house on Airbnb and we'll just experience like a new neighborhood together.
Oh, yeah, that was my first Airbnb experience.
Yeah.
Same.
And then we'll try
Yeah.
to figure out where we're going to sleep because there's so many bedrooms and so many beds.
Make
and we
sure all the curtains are closed. We left a door unlocked though, the back door.
Oops.
Oh man.
But yeah, that's definitely
and
fun.
and then figuring out that there's somebody living back there. And we're like, that's not part of what the description, but that's cool.
And the fire alarm that started beeping like as soon as we walked in, we're like, what is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we really got close. I mean, eventually you have to share a bed or something. It gets
Yeah.
it would be normally
Alex.
awkward, but with us, with the bond and the trust we have each other and comfortable, we just were like, that's cool.
Whatever.
Anything goes, whatever.
Yeah,
That
you should know that that's a uniquely woman thing because guys don't share beds with each other.
No, sometimes we show up to an Airbnb and then I was like, wait, I was calculating how many beds and no, there's only 2. And then
I had to
there's
sleep
all of
with
us.
dogs.
Maybe that's a coincidence why there's just no men on our
Yeah.
team right now.
We just put like pillows between, like, we're good. We got a fort going. We
Yeah.
got to sleep on the floor. So I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about the next idea that I want to introduce, which is Captain D. Michael Abrashoff. He was the commander of the USS Benfold for the U.S. Navy, and he wrote a book called It's Your Ship. In that, he kind of emphasizes kind of some of the ideas that we just went over. One of the main things I liked what he said was, look for results, not salutes. Rigidity gets in the way of creativity. He emphasizes to recognize that people are imperfect and let them achieve their best version of themselves and strengthen their weaknesses, but do not squash their uniqueness. So that's something that I embrace in my office because I want to make sure that everybody knows that we know each other's stories and we are a non-judgmental environment, and whatever that you have going on in your personal life that may affect your workplace, instead of trying to hold it in and cope with it, kind of share with us so that we can help you through that process because we're fair understanding. For example, we have another team member, Marissa, who's not with us right now because she's actually delivering a baby probably today or tomorrow. And throughout her pregnancy, you know, we are fair understanding with if she had to miss work because of doctor appointments and things like that. And we're very supportive as a group. So if rigidity means if I set up a rule in my office saying you cannot miss work for more than a certain number of hours per pay period, and it doesn't matter what's happening, if you miss it, you're done, you're gone kind of thing. I feel like that would create a very non-trusting and rigid environment. So I think it's really important that for our team culture that you know that I'm approachable and that I'm non-judgmental, and anything that you have going on that's negative in your life, I want to know about it because I want you to come to me with all the negativities in your life so I can see how can we work together to build something out of that, instead of you having to kind of talk to each other about negative stuff, because a lot of times talking to each other doesn't help because they don't necessarily have the resources to help you in the way that you need. So a lot of times I might bend office rules because of circumstances, because I'm understanding of individual situations that is not going to fit a specific, set of criteria. One of the things that Dave Ramsay, he wrote a book called EntreLeadership. He talks about how what would kill team culture is gossip. So gossip is defined in a workplace not like you're talking to each other about who you went on a date with. It's not really that. Gossip is defined as talking about negative things in the work environment to each other laterally. So that means someone else in your same position without the power to help you instead of upward. Usually I encourage everyone with anything like that, if you're not happy with the process we're doing something, or if you find a bottleneck in the way that we're doing something in our office, I want you to tell management or me directly, because that's something that I can then become aware of and do something about it, instead of creating a sense of kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Like if you're complaining to each other and you're helpless in that situation, it just kind of makes you feel.
It brings down the morale.
Yeah.
There's just kind of like a cloud of negativity.
Yeah,
around
it kind of
Yeah,
spreads.
you're not motivated. You're just like complaining and down. And
You're a Debbie
Exactly.
Downer.
Yeah,
Big Debbie
exactly.
Downer.
Yeah. So I think it's important that you know that, you know, you can approach someone who can maybe help you change the situation instead of just complaining to each other, because that may not help. Or at least in a positive environment, in a group environment where you can bring up something that you notice, hey, this is a bottleneck in the way we're, you know, processing this. Can anybody help with ideas and jump in and let's resolve this and create a new process that's going to work better. And I think that's always going to help us progress as a team to be able to have that. How do you guys feel about that approach of leadership versus, you know, being kind of stiff and having set rules that everybody is stuck to kind of thing?
I mean, I know recently, like, I was going through, like, really hard time in my life and everything, and coming from, like, the previous work and everything, I was always really scared to talk to my boss, and it came down to the point where I knew that I needed to ask for some time off, and it was close to, like, late in the night, evening and everything, and I remember calling you and shaking because I was like, I have to ask for this time off. I'm just, like, so scared. I know all my past jobs and everything, they would probably just be like, oh, that's fine, take your time off and then just don't come back. But, like, being able to, like, talk with you about, like, what was going on in my life and everything, and just, like, being there and, like, working through a solution with you, like, I mean, that honestly, like, made me feel like 10 times better just in that situation, like, just being able to talk with you and, like, working through everything. So
It does. It brings great satisfaction, especially knowing I'm so far from home. I know if anything happens, I can comfortably come to you and ask for that time I need and know that I'm okay. I can spend that time and still come back and have my job.
And I think with a situation like that, being able to be open with you and let you know what's going on, or anybody talking to any kind of a superior, what's going on, it's helpful. Because I think in a way, as a boss, you would say, it's okay, I give you that time off. I know you're so happy here and so committed here that I'm not losing you. I know you're coming back. I think that's a big scare, because I know where I worked previously was one of those 3 strikes you're out. It didn't matter your circumstance. So every time I'd go to work, it was like walking on eggshells. Like I wanted to make sure I didn't do anything wrong. I was always kind of paranoid. So it was just not a comfortable place to be. And I was not comfortable talking to my boss about any personal situation. I would just kind of bite my tongue, don't say anything, just kind of deal with it on my own. It was hard.
I also feel like the 3 strikes and you're out kind of rule, not only are you, like, going through difficult times and you need that time off, but then not, like, having to feel like you're walking on eggshells, it makes it to where not only are you miserable at home going through whatever you're going through hard time-wise, but you're also miserable at work. So then ultimately you're just not living a very happy life.
Right.
So.
It's added stress and pressure.
Yeah.
And it all balances out and kind of shows you as a person and who you are and what you do for us, just because you give us that opportunity to do that. And I know we all work together and we make a team, and even though one's gone, we still balance each other out. So we'll uplift each other.
That's our support.
I think that helps because you guys have gotten to know each other. So if someone has something that they're going through, everyone else is very understanding and empathetic. So that means if they're not here, instead of you saying, well, now they're not doing their job and it's on me to do it, you kind of happily pick up that missing piece, because you know, okay, we're still going to go, but hopefully she's doing okay on her own. So it makes the whole team it's easier for the whole team to accept that too. Because a lot of times I think bosses would say, well, you're gone it's because you're putting a lot more pressure on everyone else not being here, because now they have to do your work. But because I think this is an environment where we are very understanding of each other and caring for each other. We know that, okay, if you're gone, I'll take care of it. Don't even worry about it. Because you have that extension of almost like love for that person, because you want to make sure that person is taken care of and everything. So the other thing about leadership that is really important to me is to be able to present to you guys in a predictable, positive, and proactive manner, which means in any circumstances where there's a conflict or I have to make a decision on purchases, anything like that, I consistently make the same kind of decisions so that that my fundamental values of making sure our practice is a healthy environment, we don't allow hazardous materials to enter our workplace. That if a sales rep comes in and sells something that's cheaper, but potentially that material is harmful to our health, that I'm always going to say no, kind of thing. So that's an example of I want you guys to know how I make these decisions so that if I'm not there, you can make it for me. Because I can trust that you understand what I'm trying to accomplish and what I'm trying to protect. Right. And so those are some of the things I think kind of conveys itself, that I don't have to micromanage a lot of things. I can kind of lean back and trust that you're going to represent me similarly as I would do myself. Right. And I think that's really important, because I know any of you talking to a patient about a particular subject, this is how we feel as a team. This is the purpose of us as a group, and how you can communicate that to our customers and our vendors and people that we do business with.
It's like you're saying excuse me, it's like you're saying we are your extensions. We know exactly how you would react, how you would feel, what decisions you would make. So you've taught us well enough, we trust each other well enough that we know what to say, what to do. But that's our biggest role, I would think, and this is for anybody that works with any boss, any manager, anybody. We should always be your extensions. We'll be like, no worry, we have your back.
You're the foundation, and we're the tree just growing.
There you go. Yeah.
And I think one of the most important things is that treating everyone as equals with respect and dignity, because we all make mistakes and we all have that imperfect part of us, but as long as we always treat each other with the same level of respect, we'll always be able to kind of overcome any difficulties as everybody goes through their own journeys in life. And it's something that, I hope stays with you, whether or not, life can happen where you might get married and move away, or there's things that may take you away from me, but I hope the time that you have with me kind of shapes you in a way, like, and protects you in the future, because that way, that in this moment, you were treated the way you were treated, and that you're worth it. Does that make sense? Okay, so do you guys have any other comments about this so far? Or no? So let's talk about, I'm going to kind of go over that example of Dave Ramsay, the Belgian draft horse, where he talks about the power of synergy. So one horse, he says, can pull 8,000 pounds by itself. But if you put two horses together, they can pull 24,000 pounds. That means that's 3 times the weight of one horse, which means if 2 people are on the same wavelength and they're helping each other out, you're able to accomplish more as a team. But if these horses grew up together and trained together and think alike and their steps are synchronous and everything, these 2 horses can now pull 32,000 pounds, which is 4 times the original amount of one person. So if you think about the power of that kind of synergy, if you are able to be trained together and you think alike and you have the same base values, what you can accomplish together as a group is a lot more powerful than what you can do on your own. So it's almost like you can almost count on each other. It's kind of like a soccer team. You each have your own kind of positions, but to get that goal in the goal, you have to, get the soccer ball in the goal, you all have to do your own part well and kind of trust that the other person's going to do their part well. You know what I'm saying? So, do you guys have any comments about this? The fact that these horses can do so much?
I do, just because this is kind of a little example, but with Helen, she was obviously at the office before me, but she also had past dental experience too. So whenever I started working there, a lot of the things that I learned based on how you work were through her. And so she taught me a lot, and she shared her information, whatever, anything that she knew, all of her knowledge. She knows a lot of things, but she shared it all with me, and it made it to where I felt more a part of a team, and so it made working together easier, and I feel like we can accomplish a lot more whenever we do work together.
Yeah, and you're right. It's a lot. like you said, it's a lot of teamwork. Whenever you have somebody new, it's kind of hard because you got to train them right from the beginning, kind of get, all this information out there. And it's good not for me to like hold back any information or anything like that, because then you're not going to be comfortable. You're going to be, lost. But I think that in an environment when all of us can work together, I can, even like you were saying, if let's say I have to take off, I have to have a day off, there's complete trust in me. I know that she's got it covered because she's comfortable. She's I'm not going to say she's been taught well, because we all learn together as a team, but she, like I said, just working together has really been, easy.
Mm-hmm. And then also, how do you guys feel about having the ability to kind of, trust each other in a way that maybe you've never had in a previous work environment? Like, how does that make you feel when you come to work and see each other? Like, does that kind of build up your own kind of confidence that, whether or not I'm here or not, this work will get done and I can count on all these people whether or not I'm here, kind of thing?
Well, like I said before, just like you said, we had, let's say, my position is normally in the back, but then sometimes I've had to help out in the front because if somebody's gone or whatever the case may be. But it's good that, like you said, if we're a team, we're all teaching each other. We're open to ask questions if we're confused or anything. Somebody's there to answer you and help you out. So I think it's really helpful that we work really well. I think we can do it pretty smoothly if we had one or two people gone, which has happened. Sometimes we've had 3 people gone, and we're like, well, I don't know how we're going to do this today, but.
And I love the fact that we can play all parts of the roles in the office.
We will multitask if we have to. You're like, I've never done this before, but I am today.
But as long as you teach me.
Yeah, but well, you do it comfortably. You're not too scared about it. You're just like, I'm just going to get in there because I know somebody's going to help me. I have confidence. My team has confidence in me. I may not do a great job, but I'm there.
Yeah, like I got to assist with Doc, and it was just so relieving knowing that she walked me through every step that I needed to do. And if I didn't know it, I had comfort knowing that I can turn to her, and she wouldn't throw something at me. She would calmly just talk to me about it and help me get through it.
Move the section over to where she wants it.
Sometimes I just hold your hand. I'm like, it's right here. So one of the other comments that Dave Ramsay says is that, as leadership, you have to convey a sense of calmness and consistency. It's very, very important, no matter what the circumstances are, because especially in moments of kind of urgency, if you can convey that calmness, it calms everybody else too. So in situations where he feels if you fire too quickly, it will instill fear in everyone, because that means they will feel that this work environment is unstable. Like, I could be doing anything or walk the wrong way and you'll fire me, kind of thing. But if you fire too slowly, sometimes then the team might feel, the leadership, there's some kind of incompetency there because you're not able to really assess a situation well and understand what is the weak link that's bringing up everyone else down. So if you have somebody on the team who's not on the same mindset and the same wavelength and the same willingness to kind of jump in and help out whenever someone else needs, it's very obvious to a group like this, because you know that you all are on the same length and you want to help each other out. But if there's one person out there who's just doing the minimal possible, who's always on their phone or who's just kind of checked out, it kind of irritates the rest of you, right? Because it feels like I'm putting in 100%, but they're not. So it kind of brings down the entire team. So you can have somebody like that on the team that's going to hurt the entire morale and the culture.
Right.
Yeah. So do you guys feel that it's important to have leadership who's able to make a definitive decision when we realize this person may not be contributing the same way as everyone else, so it's better for everyone that this person's not part of the team?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, seeing what I've dealt with in 2 years and seeing people come and go, I would say definitely the team or anywhere would need a lot of consistency and fairness, because when you have that in the workplace, you have a lot more motivation to do what you're doing, instead of, because if I was to see that every day, like, oh, so-and-so is just not doing their part, I mean, you still approach them and try to make them to do, but if it's just not working out, everybody else is going to feel like, well, all my efforts are just for nothing because I'm putting in, 120% and I'm not, getting any
Getting that back.
recognition or getting anything back. Hell, nothing. So, yeah, I think it's one way of making sure that it, like I said, everything stays consistent and fair, and would make things run and would let anything run smoother.
Do anybody else have comments about how you feel when you know someone on the team is not doing their part and not helping you out? Like, how frustrated you feel, or, do you
It
have
just makes you feel not in sync anymore. Like, you get so comfortable with everyone, you're in sync, and you can tell if they're happy and doing their job, and when they're not, it just makes that gray area back there, and you're like, why is it so gray? Why do I feel so down?
Mm-hmm.
But just knowing that somebody's not pulling their weight, it's kind of difficult in a sense that,
to keep going yourself.
yeah, like you keep going yourself, but also it's making you in your mind, like, I'm putting in all this effort and this person gets to slack on something. Why can't I do what this other person's doing as well? And you don't want that in your workplace. You don't want somebody thinking that it's okay to get away with little things, because then everyone else is like, I can get away with it too.
And then it just adds up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's kind of like one bad apple will ruin the whole bunch. You want to make sure that, the team that you have and everybody that you're focusing on, that they deserve that focus. And if everyone comes to you and keeps letting you know, hey, this one person is not doing well, maybe give them an opportunity to correct. If not, then maybe it's best to let them go. And I think, Dave Ramsay even goes through this. It's very difficult, the fire process, especially because as a new business owner, it's hard for me to, whenever I have to do that, it's really difficult, because I have this belief that everybody has good in them, and it's hard for me to see what's going on. So sometimes I even turn the other way. But if I have everybody coming to me with the same stories and the same frustrations, eventually I can't just keep putting my head in the sand. I have to address it, because it's not fair to everyone else. Kind of like what you're saying, fairness is really important, that everyone feels that they're being heard and that their efforts are recognized, and it's not fair for someone else who can get away with not doing their part on the team. And I think it's important to, like what you said, to amplify achievements on a daily basis. I like to do that through recognition and rewards, through different ways that we can structure that recognition. Because I think a daily reminder and reward is very motivating, instead of like end of the year, here's your bonus for the year kind of thing. I like that day at the end of the day, letting you know, hey, you guys did a great job. Here's something, or here's a recognition, something to kind of make you feel more appreciated that day. Mm-hmm. How do you guys feel about having that as part of our team culture?
It's needed.
I was going to say it's definitely needed, and it also works with the motivation in the office as well, because we do have daily goals that we're striving to meet, and yes, we are getting that recognition, but it's we're working harder to reach those goals as well.
It's not just a office goal, it's a team goal. We contribute to it and we benefit from it as well. So it's nice to know that the higher and bigger goal that we're actually reaching for, we benefit from that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I think number one, it builds confidence, because we know that we're all doing the right thing. We're all have, you get that pat on the back. My biggest thing is thank you. Just anything, even having Taylor as new as she's been, Marissa, the other assistant, just even at the end of the day, just tell them thank you for everything you've done, because there's no way I could do that without, help. So it's sometimes just that little thank you is oh, I did help today. I think we did a good job. Even Doc, sometimes at the end of the day, we've had crazy long days. There's sometimes we would be at work till 7, 8 o'clock at night. It was insane. Yeah. And at the end of the day, sometimes I'd get a text late at night. You know what? Thank you. Thank you for your hard work. And that just means a lot. You're like, wow, I'm appreciated. That's awesome. See you in the morning.
You did all your hard work for something.
Yeah, it's all for something, but that that just makes you want to continue doing it. It doesn't have to be necessarily a monetary, reward. It's just makes you feel better. This is how people go to work every day and are happy to be there at work every day, because you're appreciated for, physically the work that you do, and, just everything around you. It's just, that's why I come to work every day. I'm like, oh, money's great, but it's not everything. That literally does not make you happy.
One of the examples I like to kind of quote is, after 9/11, the idea of, let me go back a little bit, the idea of the importance of long-term retention of any workplace. It's important to keep people around. The great example is Southwest Airlines. After 9/11, because everyone was kind of scared of purchasing airplane tickets, the airline industry wasn't doing very well. And so there were a lot of layoffs throughout different airlines. But Southwest is one of the unique airlines that chose specifically not to lay off anybody, even though they were confronted with the same circumstances the other airlines were confronted with, which is loss of revenue. James Parker, the CEO at the time of this airline, said that, you have to be able to create a place where employees are proud to be there and they understand the company's mission and want to do the right thing. But if you expect everyone else to do the right thing as an employer, you have to do the right thing too. You have to know that in this situation, this is what I want from my employer. This is how I want to be protected, because it's not their fault something happened where it's out of their control and now they don't have a way to pay their bills. Does that make sense? And so what they did was they did not lay off a single person at Southwest Airlines, but somehow this airline still managed to make money every quarter since 2001. They actually had an annual net profit for 41 consecutive years, about $805 million per year. And so they're living proof that if you prioritize the people that work for you, that's actually a very good way to go. Because when you are able to retain your employees, you retain your customers, and then you satisfy the shareholders. So basically, the Southwest model is, the question, who comes first, the employee, customers, or shareholders? There's this conception that customers come first, customers always right, that kind of thing. And I'm not a big believer of that. I actually think that employees do come first, because their happiness, their satisfaction, dedication, energy is what conveys this company atmosphere, the culture, kind of like what Tony Hsieh was saying, how that's going to convey your brand to your customers. And that's going to make your customers happy, and then therefore for shareholders or whoever else is invested in the company. Do you guys have any comments about, the Southwest Airlines, or how you felt like that's something that kind of proves to you that this is a great mentality to have?
Yes, thank you. If that employees come first. I'll start with the thank you part, right?
It really does help, because some customers can have a bad day and without realizing it, they can take it out on us, not knowing that on our end, we are trying to give 100% to make sure that they do get the satisfaction, or we are trying to help them answer whatever it can be. Like, not all people are bad. So to know that for a change, the employee is the one that's right, it makes a world of a difference working for you.
Yeah, I feel like it. You guys know that you can trust that in a situation, I'm always going to give you the benefit of the doubt, even if someone's throwing a fit, in the front office about something. I'm usually, because I know that you're an extension of myself and of each other, I know that you're making the most right decision within your circumstance and your knowledge. And so a lot of times, even if you did make a mistake, I would just kind of cover that. Like, I would protect you, and I say, okay, we apologize, we did this, how are we going to make it right to you, to the customer? But I wouldn't be throwing you under the bus, essentially, because I would say, this is, we did this, and how do we make it right with you, to the customer? But not necessarily saying, okay, well, they did that, and so therefore, too bad, or whatever, So I always want to make sure that you're protected in that circumstance. Do you guys have anything else to say or add to happiness in the workplace? Anything else that you think might be important for people to hear about these ideas? Anything else?
Just as far as what you said about keeping everybody happy, as far as the bonding and understanding and trusting, it's like you're saying, putting employees first kind of thing is helpful. I think as an employee, like you said, we feel backed up, we feel trusted, that any decision we've made, if it's towards whether it's a patient or anybody, that we did it out of, like as an extension of you, there was a particular reason why we said what we said or did what we did, handled it as best as we could. But it's good to know that, we are, we feel comfortable enough to be able to be like, it's okay. We're not going to get fired for this. We didn't do anything wrong. We just,
we can be genuinely happy behind the choice that we made.
Yeah. You're comfortable. You're not that if, like, maybe I should, done this. It's more like we know what we said for a reason. But that's one thing I like, is that we feel backed up and protected and trusted. I think it's a big deal of wanting to stay at a workplace for that reason.
So it's like you feel empowered that you know that because you're trained a certain way, you understand the values, you're making the best decision you can, and then I will back you up.
Right.
And it doesn't mean we're always right. I mean, we could be wrong as a group. But,
Yeah.
but
to
at
be
least we're
human,
together.
it's okay.
Yeah.
We can be wrong.
But I
Yeah.
also feel like, I don't know, I almost want to be like happy employees equals happy customers, just because we are able to keep like a positive attitude and everything. We know you're going to back us up. We know that we have that bond in our office and everything, that we're able to like laugh with the customers. We're able to kind of handle hard situations, but also like build relationships with our patients that are longer lasting because we have that positive attitude and because of the culture in our workplace.
Right. She's right. We do make a family, right? All
Oh,
our
yeah.
patients kind of start building into our family. Some patients actually call this their family. They're like, oh, I'm here for my next appointment with my family.
See you next week.
Yeah.
So I appreciate everyone's thoughts about this. I want to close with Tony Shea, back to Zappos, his quote that customer service shouldn't be just a department, it should be the entire company. He emphasizes that it's important that you carry that with you and make sure you're representing yourself well as the company, and that you're all unified in your identity as a company.
You're listening to RMCN, the digital destination for premium talk radio.